but I think that making movies is also about trying to redefine the language of cinema, and you know, I've always been making films which deal with the way I absorb whatever I experience in whatever I experience, whatever I observe, and whatever has to do with you know, with being confronted with the complexities and contradictions, and you know, circulation of movies, commodity, money, you know, within today's world. And what has been extremely interesting in terms of dealing with the framework of genre filmmaking is that somehow it kind of gives you a greater freedom, because somehow you can exaggerate the emotions. I mean, you know, all of a sudden things that would be theoretical deal with life and death, and there's you know, and I wanted also to have at the center of the story two characters who are very strong physical presences. So you know, they're kind of very much flesh and blood, and in a way that I suppose if I had made this in a more classic way, in terms of, again, you know, being within the framework of French cinema, I wouldn't be able to go as far as maybe the elements of music in this film allow me to. So of course it makes it more exciting, because I think it helps me to new areas.
One last question before I turn it over to the audience, and that is, this was, I guess, your first experience of working with a Hong Kong crew, making a film in Hong Kong, in a kind of Hong Kong style to some degree. And what were the surprises, and what were the kind of pitfalls, and what was the kind of, you know, what was the excitement of
well,
that?
The whole point is that I did not want to go to Hong Kong the way Western film crews go to Hong Kong. You know, Western film crews go to Hong Kong and basically they try to re-establish their own way of functioning. I basically brought 5 people with me, and we wanted very much to function the way Hong Kong film crews function. And also because I wanted to keep this kind of roughness and the energy of the city, and I wanted to, and what was great is that we could work really fast, we could keep this kind of documentary energy here and there, and we could work long hours, and we just had a lot of freedom in terms of how we made the film, how we shot it. The only problem we had sometimes was that there's just too many people in Hong Kong crews. You know, they work really fast, but there's just too many people. So the work is pretty cheap. So all of a sudden, when you normally you would have one person doing a specific thing, here you have like 3 of them. Like you can't move the camera without having like 7 or 8 people around the camera, which is completely the opposite of what I'm trying to do in my films. I mean, I'm always trying to make movies as lightly as possible, and specifically in this film, like when we were shooting in the street, it was a real problem, because, you know, I wanted to shoot with a hidden camera and try to capture, you know, the situation of Asia in the middle of the traffic, whatever, and that's something you can't do if you have like all those people around the camera. So I had to invent like strategies, like, you know, we would be like setting up shots here or there, pretending we're preparing the shot, and while the shot is being prepared, we take the camera and rush something else.
Okay, anyone have questions out there? Yes?
I can't say I've seen a lot of your films, but the ones that I've seen have been pretty serious. This one seems to have a lighter tone, even though there was a lot of drama and violence. Especially Asia Argento, I've never seen her having so much fun in a movie as the role that you gave her. She's so much fun to watch. And I was wondering, what was your ideas when you were talking to that? Because Michael Madsen, he always brings that kind of fun dangerous type of mix to everything that he does. So I was wondering how you got Asia and everybody else.
Let me just repeat the question. The question was that this is a film that's kind of got a lighter, kind of almost fun quality to it compared to some of the other films you've seen by Olivier. But the question is, what was it? How did you work with Asia Argento and Michael Madsen to sort of get them into this sort of place of I guess, lightness?
Well, it's well, yeah. We basically we had fun making the film. I must say. I mean, it's and Asia was just like so much. She loved this kind of half serious, half cartoonish situations. I do enjoy them too, and we were both. I mean, we were all of us pretty straightforward in terms of what of the story we were telling. We were pretty straightforward in terms of the characters and the emotions in the character. But then we were having fun. You know, we knew there was not so much a kind of tongue-in-cheek thing, because that's not exactly the way I function, but there was something playful. I totally wanted something playful in the film, and like, you know, I would like with Asia, when she's like running around in the warehouse with the Chinese mobsters running after her and shooting, you know, we were just watching those guys who are like, you know, they are like extras in Hong Kong. I mean, they play big parts in Hong Kong movies, and we gave them the guns, and all of a sudden they were like shooting like mad, and you know, we were watching them, and we just thought, okay, you know, this is somehow where we wanted to get at.
Anyone else? Yes.
I'm curious how the film came together. Do you have a script and then find, say, Asia? I mean, obviously she's such a core film.
Yes.
Or did you?
Well, it's more like I had the story in the back of my mind. I wanted it's a kind of movie I wanted to make, and I had also more or less a canvas, because it's a real life story. I mean, something as unbelievable as it may seem, something similar to this kind of happened, and it was in the newspapers, you know, Europe and blah blah blah. And but then I did not have the right actress for it. So I didn't get to writing it because, and then I met Asia because we met when I was preparing another film which ended up not happening. But then when I met her, I was just like amazed, because, you know, I had this stereotype notion of her. I mean, you know, to me she was this crazy girl who is in those action movies, and who's been in the in the movies of her father, and she was kind of a weird, you know, presence. And then I met her, and we kind of spoke like 100% the same language. We liked the same thing, and I realized she's a much nicer, simpler, generous, straightforward person. And I thought, oh, why don't I see that in movies? So you know, and so I thought that maybe we could have fun with whatever she enjoys doing, meaning that, you know, just something like this, as this kind of B-movie texture, and at the same time we can try things and just, you know, that would give her space to show things that have not, you know, that she hadn't had an opportunity to show in other movies. I mean, you know, this movie is placed with the whole range of what she can do, and she has an incredibly broad range. Because it goes from, you know, just very subtle emotional nuances to, you know, again, running around with guns in the Hong Kong warehouse. But you know, it's very few actresses can basically get away with that. So I don't think I would have written the story without knowing that she was around and basically